Hey there, before we plunge into the weeds of South Africa's grand social engineering experiment, do me and the survival of honest discourse a quick favor. Hit subscribe, toggle those notifications, and ride out the adverts for at least 30 seconds so this channel can keep the lights on while Eskom can't. If you want to go the extra mile, jump into the channel membership or drop a super thanks. Your clicks keep the facts flowing. Right, let's talk about the slow-motion demolition of a community that once built railways, universities, and a globally envied agricultural sector, only to be thanked with policies that read more like a bad revenge fantasy than a plan for growth. The numbers tell the tale. Back in 1994, whites numbered 5.2 million and made up 12.7% of the population. By 2022, they'd slipped to 4.5 million and just 7.3%. That's a 13% absolute drop in a country whose total headcount grew by more than 18 million over the same period. Gauteng, Johannesburg's province and the economic engine, lost roughly 400,000 whites between the 2011 and 2022 censuses. Western Cape clings to 1.2 million, but the percentage shrank there too, as inward migration from other provinces surged. Natural attrition? Hardly. When the demographic most likely to hold a postgraduate degree starts filing one-way flight plans, you're witnessing a policy-driven evacuation. The push factors are spelled out in the ANC's three-word marketing slogan, Black Economic Empowerment. Official guidelines target 80% of new positions for Black South Africans, conveniently ignoring that whites already punch far above their weight in tax receipts and technical qualifications. In raw rands, the average white household earned just under 445,000 rand in 2015, more than quadruple the black average, because a century of investing in skills does, shockingly, translate into productivity. Instead of leveraging that human capital, the state capped promotion prospects, froze government tenders, and slapped ownership quotas on private firms. Merit became a dirty word. Representativity became the magic key. Unsurprisingly, nearly 50% of engineers under 30 emigrated within 5 years of qualification, according to the 2019 Engineering Council survey. That skills drain alone is estimated to have shaved 1.3 trillion rand off cumulative GDP since 1994, and that's before we add the indirect costs of load shedding these very engineers might have solved. Land policy adds the second kick. Whites farmed 85% of commercial land in 1994. By 2017, the figure had dropped to 72%, largely through willing buyer, willing seller deals. But patience with market transactions ran thin once populism started polling well. So Parliament voted in 2018 to allow expropriation without compensation. The first test cases saw owners offered 10% of market value. Call it a thank you discount for generations of topsoil stewardship. Agri-SA reports that more than 18% of commercial farmers have already scouted foreign soil, and whole Boer enclaves now flourish in Zambia, Mozambique, and even Georgia, the one under the Caucasus, not Atlanta. South Africa just exported its food security on a silver platter. Meanwhile, the crime statistics read like dystopian fiction. The national murder rate sits around 42 per 100,000, 6 times the global average, and police detection rates hover near 20%. In farming districts, the numbers are bloodier and far more personal. Upward of 1,500 white farmers have been killed since 1994, often with torture thrown in for good measure. When security expert Johan Berger told Parliament that affluent suburbs are surgically targeted by organized gangs because that's where the money, and yes, disproportionately white residents live, the governing benches yawned and shuffled papers. Far easier to blame colonial privilege than reform a rotten command chain. Economically, the consequences spiral. Whites still contribute more than 56% of personal income tax, according to SARS's 2023 table, despite representing 7% of the population. Every medical specialist who bails for Perth, every software architect who lands in London, drains the fiscus twice, once through lost tax and again through foreign exchange controls designed to trap savings at home. As of 2024, Treasury tallied 600 billion rand in formally recorded outward remittances, money that might have funded state hospitals now underwriting mortgages in Brisbane. And what fills the vacuum? Cadre deployment, rolling blackouts up to 12 hours a day, a youth unemployment rate brushing 60%, and an infrastructure backlog so dire that the South African Institution of Civil Engineering grades national assets A, D. The ANC's vote share duly slid below 50% in the 2024 election, forcing a coalition that reads like alphabet soup but can't even alphabetize an agenda. Yet official spokespeople still mutter that transformation hasn't gone far enough, as if the next tranche of quotas will suddenly conjure electricity, potable water, and a manufacturing base last seen intact in the early 1980s. Let's not pretend everyone threw in the towel. Roughly 340,000 whites actually returned between 2010 and 2020, lured by family ties or a stubborn determination to fight it out. They found the same legislative minefield waiting, plus deteriorating public order. Their resilience is nothing short of heroic, but heroism alone doesn't keep traffic lights on during load-shedding stage 8. When the people trained to fix substations are packing for Calgary, the grid goes dark. It's a simple equation, yet somehow the mandarins in Pretoria missed the memo. So where does this leave the so-called Rainbow Nation? With the rainbow's brightest technical stripes steadily fading to grey, foreign investors are trimming exposure and ratings agencies keep one finger on the downgrade trigger. State debt crossed 77% of GDP in 2025 projections. The currency flirts with junk bond status. And every minister blames a phantasmal legacy called apartheid, rather than an all-too-current legacy called incompetence. The irony would be delicious if the stakes weren't so high. A government elected on the promise of inclusion is engineering exclusion so efficiently that even its own revenue base is skipping town. I'll wrap with a challenge and a prediction. The challenge: tell me in good faith how any society survives when it treats its most productive minority as expendable ballast. The prediction: unless policy pivots toward genuine meritocracy and ruthless crime control, the same officials shouting transformation from podiums will soon wonder why the tax coffers echo and the lights flicker for 6 hours at a stretch. But by then, the pilots, doctors, and power station engineers will be watching from safer shores. If you're still here, you're part of the reason this conversation hasn't been completely censored. Smash that like button if you're tired of the double standards, share this video so the algorithm can't bury it, leave a comment telling me whether whites should dig in or ship out, and seriously, let that next ad play through. Join the membership or fire off a super thanks if you value unscripted truth. Until next time, stay informed, stay vocal, and keep the receipts.